That's Shaun Campbell, the voice of the Laval Rocket. You can listen to him weekdays on TSN 690 between 10 and 2. The Rocket, third in the North Division, looking up at both the Marlies and Rochester Americans. This in the aftermath of Laval running into a bad stretch of play here against Syracuse and the Crunch, losing 4-1 and then 5-2. Now, not having Jakub Dobeš definitely hurts. Let's talk about what's happened with the Laval Rocket. The teeter tottering in the North Division in the AHL standings, as it looks like things are evening out for Laval from their blistering hot start. It's more than losing Jakub Dobeš. Shaun, what's been going on? Explain Laval's slump and getting beat by the Crunch.
Yeah, a little bit of a tough one against their old head coach Joel Bouchard coming in and playing puck off the glass, clearing it on the outside. That was a rough one on Friday night, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But it was, you're a road team. You're coming into Place Bell. You want to quiet that building. You're able to do that. They're getting healthy. Besides, Gignac came back, and then Gignac got hurt again. So that's unfortunate. But other than that, they have some lineup decisions to make. And what's also really interesting that's happening with the Rocket right now, and maybe it coincides with their struggles, is the power plays dipped a little bit, and Logan Mailloux has not picked up points. He's got like 1 point in 12 games.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this, he is a point producer on this team. They've been giving power play opportunity. They picked up Noel Hoffenmeyer, who's at the Spengler Cup, and he came for a couple games. He was getting number one power play unit time. He's an offensive weapon. And Adam Engstrom's getting some power play time. So Mailloux's not always on the number one power play unit. So I think that's affected his point total. His game as a whole has been solid. So as much as you want to look at the points and he doesn't have, it's been solid. It just, he hasn't been overwhelming. And I've been on with you. I've been on TSN 690. I think Logan Mailloux is ready. And it might have been one of those situations. He sees Carrier gets picked up and he's like, I thought I was going to get called up. And now I don't know when I'm going to get my chance. And there might be a little bit of a, coming down. There are players that, and I'm pouting's the wrong word, but it hits them. It hits them and it affects them.
Yes.
Pascal Vincent, he speaks about it when someone comes down. He's like, you get a day. You get a day. And then after a day, you have to be a professional. That's you're allowed. It's disappointed. Pascal Vincent knows from going up and down himself. You get a day. But it's moves that are made around you that you're like, oh, you're doing the math. You're like, carry the one, and now I'm okay. I thought I was 7th, and now I'm 8th on the depth chart. But besides all that, that's what's happening with Mailloux. I'll tell you, though, watch out for Adam Engstrom. He is turning into the guy in Laval right now.
Well, yeah. I know Pascal Vincent a little bit from his days as a head coach of the Montreal Juniors in the Quebec League a lifetime ago. And he was never known to be a guy who sugarcoats things.
Nope.
He can come at you in a straight line bluntly. Some people, it can rub you the wrong way. You learn to grow thick skin around Pascal Vincent. And he mentioned some things about Logan Mailloux as it relates to the first wave of the power play, talking about, the skill set not being good enough right now and how they have other options at that point. And then you talk about what I think is a normal reaction to have. If you feel as though that you've been playing well, your confidence is up, your team is playing well, and you're a part of that, and you're like, oh, maybe there's an opening for me, and the big club makes a move that isn't you, I can understand it's a reasonable reaction that you don't feel the best. And then your coach of your current club team is like, well, now you're not getting first power play minutes. I mean, this is just the turbulent road, isn't it, of learning to be a pro, and everybody kind of has to take their lumps and learn these lessons. The only way to be learned is by going through them, right?
Yeah, and I think that this is part of the process. I think the other thing is the process for Mailloux, because we can get into a whole other story about like how long it's been for him, how he's like, oh, I don't want to get drafted. Canadians drafted him anyways. People were mad at the Canadians. Canadians kept him anyways. He goes through the program. He stays in junior probably an extra year that maybe he didn't really need it, but he stayed that extra year because we're going to be patient with you. Then it's, oh, last year I thought we're going to be patient with you, and then this year we're going to be patient with you. Sometimes your patience wears thin, and that possibly could be it. This is someone highly touted. I mean, if other teams wanted, he would have been drafted higher than 30th, where the Canadiens drafted him.
For
No
sure.
doubt about it, if he didn't have the past that he went through. Because if you're talking about pure skill set. So the journey and to get to the NHL on a regular basis for Mailloux has been very long. And maybe he's just, like you said, he's a young guy that's just like, oh, I don't know if it'll ever
Yeah.
happen. It will. You just really have to keep your head down. You really do,
Every,
and suck it up.
everybody wants to happen quickly, right? Like
Yeah,
Joshua Roy, for example,
perfect
pretty
example. Perfect.
24 points, got 12 goals, leads the team by all accounts, believes in himself to the point where he feels like he's ready to get to the next level. So that takes me to the overall team's complexion. We could talk about Joshua Roy, Owen Beck. These are the names you want to see at the top of your point page, right? I mean, no disrespect to Alex Barré-Boulet, but like I don't want to see ABB lead the team in points. I want it to be Joshua Roy. I want Owen Beck to be in the mix. I'd like Logan Mailloux to be there, and he's seventh in team scoring. So walk me through the balance of the roster compared to other seasons that you covered the team. A lot of Canadian fans look at Laval with hopeful eyes. They look at the
Mhm.
Logan Mailloux, they look at the Owen Becks, and they're like, okay, yeah, I want to see these guys. I'm excited to see what they can bring. I mean, is there legitimate reason here about the future of some of these players one day with the Montreal Canadiens?
Absolutely. I've been play by play of Laval since the get go,
Yeah,
and I've done games, and I could go back in my books and go through the rosters and look at that lineup, and people will ask me, "Oh, Canadians, they need some goals. Who do they call up?" I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know who they're going to call up. And you want it to be someone that the team has drafted and started to groom and started to go up the path. We need someone to help with the bottom six kind of grunting. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if they have that. They're short of defense tonight. Can they call someone up? Yeah, I don't know if anybody's NHL ready yet. And if you remember when they were going through all those injuries a couple of years ago, they called up all these guys that just
yeah,
played a couple of games. At one point, I think Brandon Baddock played a game, and even goalies. People have been like, "Oh, goalies, is he ready?" And no, he's not ready. Don't call him up. But now, this year, hey, you need some offense? Call Joshua. Oh, you need a defenseman ready to go? Logan Mailloux is NHL ready. He's ready to go. Oh, you
yeah.
want a goalie because Caden Primo's struggling? Jakub Dobeš can come up. I have answers this year. You need someone to fill in bottom six. You need a center iceman. I know that they chose Lucas Condotta for a couple games, and look, Condotta came up and did the role that he was asked to do with the Canadiens, and I think that there was no problems. He was AHL, but Owen Beck is right there. But they have a plan with Owen Beck. They're not pushing Owen Beck. Owen Beck, this is a special player that the Canadiens I think absolute steal at the draft because
Hmm.
he's going to be an NHL player. There's no doubt in my mind about it. I go up and down this roster, and there are NHL players that I can already see. Josh Waugh will be an NHL player. Owen Beck will be an NHL player. Logan Mailloux is going to be an NHL player. I'm starting to believe in Adam Engstrom being an NHL player.
Right.
We see Dobeš just played in the NHL, and I wasn't sure about him. Now I don't know what the longevity is, but we'll see. He's going to be an NHL player. And then it doesn't really stop there. You want goal scoring. There's Jared Davidson. And that's someone that the Canadiens drafted that no one's talking about. Florian Jacki and Luke Tuck.
Yeah.
Longer shots, but you throw them out there in a certain situation, knowing what their role is, they're gonna play that role. I see the paths for some of these players to the NHL. So they have a mix of everything. Where 3-4 years ago, you asked me, and I'm like, I don't know. Charles Hudon was ready. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's fair. Charles Denones, part of Team Canada at the Spengler Cup.
Yep.
Laval Rocket, losers of back to back. They're at home coming up Friday and Saturday. Catch the action live on TSN 690
We don't
when
have
we
those games.
welcome in Abbotsford. And normally you can catch them on
Yeah.
TSN 690, but
Habs are
not
playing.
Friday,
Yeah.
not
So Habs
Saturday.
play Friday, Saturday. So we have the two Habs games. So yeah, we don't have those two games. Our
Right.
next game will be the 15th of January.
Perfect.
But yeah, I'm calling the Chicago Habs game, and I'm calling the Vegas Habs game. So
Hey
if you're gonna miss
now.
me,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
calling those 2 games. Okay.
Well, thank you. We definitely look forward to that. And you're right. At Chicago on Friday at 8, at Colorado Saturday at 7 on your home for the Habs. TSN 690. Shaun Campbell, pleasure. Thanks as always, my man.
Always fun, my friend.
Happy New Year. Peace.